Hello everyone, I am Anand Sonecha and I will be conducting the Level 2 studio Dissolving Boundaries Children's Library at Loving Community. Akash Dave will be the teaching assistant for the studio. Before I go into the details of the studio, I would like to mention few things. We have proposed the studio fully on campus. We'll follow the safety protocols very strictly. There will be two site visits in smaller groups and will not be in contact with the people of the loving community. Students from outside Ahmedabad who wants to join the studio will have the first week as a buffer for traveling and settling down. They won't need to attend the first week of the studio on campus. The initial exercise is designed in a way that they will be able to work remotely for the first week. Again, the safety must be considered first. The studio will focus on the loving community in Vastral, formed in 1968 by people with leprosy that migrated from different regions in India. The neighborhood has currently 450 residents, from which 40 still have remnants of disease, even if cured. Most of the people living in this community work for factories nearby, drive rickshaws, or ask money on street. Since the community is located in the low-lying area, it suffers flooding in monsoons. This is a photograph of 2018 monsoon. Uh, the community is organized into two clusters. So first cluster is on the entrance. Here is the entrance. The second larger cluster is on the rear part. There is a community hall. Uh, there is a canal and the road which runs parallel to the community. And there is a slope which goes towards the rear part of the community. There is a new surrounding development recently developed, and there is a strict compound wall between the new development and the community. And this, because of the compound wall, there is no way the water could pass and the community results in flooding. This section shows the relationship between the road and the community. So this is the canal, the road, which is 1.8 meters higher than the community. So this is the community, and the slope goes like this. And then there are this compound wall which doesn't let the water to pass. Currently, more than 100 children live in this community. Most of their homes have single room, and a family of 4 to 6 members live and cook in the same place. The houses don't have enough space for all the residents, and the children have no proper space to study or do their homework. The studio will focus on the design of a small children's library where they can meet, study, or be by themselves. This library should act as a meeting point for children from different neighborhoods. So this is the plan of some of the houses in the loving community. As you can see, the houses are very small. They have only one room and 4 to 6 people live. The size of the houses are 4 meters by 6 to 7 meters. Leprosy disease have affected people from ancient time. Throughout history, there was a stigma around the disease. People with leprosy were marginalized, treated as outcasts, and were forced to live in dedicated asylums away from the society. This demarcation is clearly visible in the loving community. The studio will speculate and explore how these barriers can be broken through architecture. The design of children's library will trigger the discussion how the boundaries between the loving community and the surrounding city can be dissolved. The studio is structured into four major parts. First is the mapping for 3 weeks. Second part is the ideal reading space for 2 weeks. The third part is the design development stage from week 6 to 14. And the last 2 weeks are for developing the alternative techniques for communication with different stakeholders. And in each stage we have invited guest lecturers, so it will be relevant for that phase of the studio. The first part is the mapping. The intention is to familiarize and understand the physical and social condition of the community. This time we have limited site visits only for 2 times because of the pandemic. Data will be provided for the analysis and preparation of drawings and models. These are some of the drawings made by the students from the previous studio. You can go through more details on the portal. There are students also made speculative drawings on how community has evolved over time. And then finally, students made the context model. The second part is the ideal reading space. The intention is to imagine, speculate, draw, and find the personal spaces that excites, inspires, and facilitate readings. It's a very exciting exercise. So first thing a student does is they write a narrative about the environment they like to read. Based on the narrative, students find an image, illustration, or photograph which closely resembles to their ideal reading space. Because it is not a perfect image, a student the next as a next step, student intervenes inside of the image, trying to make image closer to their imagination and their narrative. So this is the image which was selected, and this is the intervention by the student. And then by inserting a human in an abstract image, students decode the scale and proportion of the image. Then students uncover and explore architectural elements which constitute that space. Later, they make the model from the abstract image. Uh, Essentially, students distill the important qualities of the ideal reading space, and then they could use them as a guide for their conceptual design. The third part is the design development stage. This part is an amalgamation of mapping exercise and ideal reading space exercise. We'll also delve into aspects as placemaking. We'll also explore how to create equitable and inclusive spaces. We'll explore ways to work with local resources and construction techniques. We'll also develop new methods of communication techniques for various stakeholders. So I'm going to quickly run through some of the sample works. The first work I'm going to show of Nikhila. This project envisioned children's library as a place to meet. It was located in a very strategic location to dissolve the boundaries between two communities. So this was the intervention of Nikhila between the loving community and the neighboring community. It acted as like a meeting point between the two communities. The project also explored bamboo as a construction material. So these are some of the drawings and some of the detailed drawings. The second work I'm going to talk about is of Palak. The project envisioned children's library as a playful pavilion which is transformable. A detailed study of movement, people, animals, vehicles were done on the site. These are some of the diagrams of the design development. The project focused on architectural element column and explored its limits and potential by in-depth studies. So each project is a different inquiry in architecture. The last sample is of care of. This project explored the needs of the community and went beyond the program of children's library. The decentralized built forms were imagined with an aim to capture the unique experience of different locations in the community. So his proposal was inspired by Cedric Price Fun Palace. This was his ideal reading space exercise, and this was his intervention. He made series of models to understand the form. The project also explored lightweight steel construction, a skill available in the community. These are some of his proposals. And the last part is to find an alternative technique for communication. The intention is to develop the communication techniques of the project for its different stakeholders. So these are some of the examples of models. So this is the model that we made at the office for the people of loving community. Uh, Thank you so much for listening patiently. If you have more questions, I'll be very happy to answer by this email. And I'm very much looking forward for the studio. and please take care.